more late news, but still as important as ever. And we're talking about, of course, the World Cup draw. And there are going to be some epic matchups, even just in the group stage alone. I cannot wait to cover this with you guys. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And as we get closer to the end of September here, only about 2 months away now from the great new host Uzbekistan taking over and showing us what they're made of. I cannot wait to see what comes from this contest. I'm sure you guys are ready to roll as well. First of all, let's talk about Uzbekistan. The stage is set with the 10th host, the 10th World Cup being in Uzbekistan. It will be hosted across 3 major cities across the country. And for the first time ever, a Central Asian country is hosting a tournament. Uzbekistan themselves had a chance at this several years ago. In fact, almost 2 decades ago, when they hosted a U20 Women's World Cup that never came to fruition due to some logistics concerns, among some other things, that they couldn't quite get right to host the number of people that would be at that tournament. But now, looking better than ever, and with their amazing architecture, their beautiful scenery, this is going to be an amazing backdrop for that coveted 10th Futsal World Cup. So much history to be made and to be had this year, and it's going to be great to be back on the World Cup cycle as it should be, without the disruptions of that horrible disease, COVID, that completely destroyed our lives and timelines as we know it. In fact, to this day, I still can't tell what year it is from staying at home for even just for that short period of time in the grand scheme of our lives, but cannot wait to see everything back to normal and seeing these teams take on each other. I'm curious to see what the crowds are going to look like in Uzbekistan and who's going to travel there. But most importantly, looking out at Uzbekistan and how they got here, they really beat out some really tough competition with the likes of Vietnam, Iran, 2 great futsaling countries with a lot of history behind them and success in their local leagues. And then even some newcomers to the sport in the sense of India being rumored to be a part of this, and even the United States supposedly putting a bid in as well. But the biggest competition for them of all had to be Morocco. Morocco, of course, really rising to the top as a top national team, and not only futsal, but outdoor soccer as well. They were really rumored to be the team that was going to handle this. In fact, there was a bit of a soft announcement, if you will, that suggested that Morocco had it locked up. There was even fan art from folks of what that logo could look like for the World Cup coming from Morocco, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be for them. But Uzbekistan looks to be putting on quite a show so far, and we can't wait to see more. Really, really a big underdog story, even just in the bidding process for them to really earn the hosting rights to this. And so this double landlocked country, if you will be the first ever Central Asian country to host a major tournament for FIFA. Congratulations to them. Very exciting stuff. Now, let's take a look at the groups. Enough of my ugly mug. Let's put some groups up on the screen here for you guys to take a look at, starting with Group A. Group A has, of course, the host we just were raving about, Uzbekistan. They're going to be taking on the Netherlands. This team hasn't been to a World Cup since 2000, and they are back now after 24 years looking to make an impact. They've been on a slow incline over the last few years, kind of quietly behind the scenes, as they have grown their game. And they will also be facing the likes of Paraguay, who is a very formidable foe that they will definitely have to compete with. And then, of course, from CONCACAF, we have Costa Rica. Costa Rica only ever getting to a round of 16 in their history in the World Cup, but very consistently. Last time they saw that round of 16 was in 2016. So we will see if Costa Rica can finally get past that first knockout round and find their way into the history books this year. You know, their team did falter at the CONCACAF Championships, but I said it in my video reviewing that when you are at the top of the mountain, everyone wants to topple you, and all the teams at CONCACAF brought their A game against Costa Rica. Then again, Costa Rica did also look not quite as confident, not quite as strong as they have in years past, but this is going to be a very interesting group in Group A, fairly balanced, and it really could see some upsets in this group if things go their way. Group B, being the highlight, of course, is Brazil, the 5-time champs, last winning it in 2012. Famous futsaler Falcao, who still rings out as the famous name that people remember in futsal. They are making their 10th appearance out of 10 in this tournament. They've never missed a World Cup. And of course, with those 5 championships, they are the winningest team for championships in futsal. They're going to take on a very sparky and upstart team in Cuba who has a great young squad that brings a lot of energy. They're going to be pests against all these teams, regardless of what the scoreline is, and finding a way to create upsets. They're looking to advance for the first time from the group stage in their 6th appearance. So we'll see if they're able to do that with this young squad. I find this squad very exciting to watch, especially from the CONCACAF Championships. Even if they don't perform well, which I think it will be difficult for them to get wins in this group, they will definitely be a team to look forward to the future that could possibly be disruptive to the world futsal scene. So keep an eye on them. Croatia winning through the UEFA contest through a playoff on the final 2 days alongside Netherlands. Similarly, they haven't been to a World Cup since 2000. But back in 2000, they did win 5th place. They did find their way quite far through the tournament, just missing those semifinals. And so they will be looking to build on that history from a couple decades ago to see if they can get back to where they used to be and be disruptive on the court. And then, of course, Thailand, a powerhouse from AFC. They are looking to pass the round of 16. They can't quite seem to find a way past it, even with some really impressive teams in the past. Again, guys, another very interesting group. For me, it seems like Brazil and Thailand should be the easy favorites to win this group out and move on, but you never know. That's the thing about futsal, is it is a fickle sport, and it can turn on a head, which is what makes it so exciting to us fans. Group C, Argentina, 10th appearance. They've never missed a World Cup either, just like their sister country. Well, I shouldn't say that. I will probably piss some people off. Their country neighbors in Brazil, they were champions back in 2016, and they're looking to get back to it. They were in the final against Portugal in the last iteration of the World Cup in 2021 and fell short, but they were finalists. This is a team that is aging, though. Will they be able to keep up with the youth of this tournament and some of the upstarts that have a chip on their shoulder? They're going to have a tough path as they move forward. Also with the likes of Ukraine. They're coming back for the first time since 2016. They've missed a cycle, but they are back in action, and their best performance in a World Cup dates back to 1996, where they got 4th place. They made it to the semifinals, made it to that 3rd place match and fell short. But unlike Ukraine and Argentina, who have been regulars over the years in this tournament, we take a look at the other 2 teams in this group, in Group C, and at first glance, Afghanistan. Afghanistan fought like crazy to qualify for this World Cup, and they earned it, and they are debuting in their first ever World Cup for the country in futsal. And then Angola. Angola is in their 2nd straight appearance in a futsal World Cup. They are looking for their first win still in a World Cup, as they came up winless in the last iteration. Check out some pretty cool interviews that FIFA actually posted on their website on the landing page for the Futsal World Cup. And you will find actually Marcos Antunes on FIFA.com, who was interviewed. He is a Portuguese manager for the club and has really just been eating, sleeping, breathing futsal in Angola and taking on some tough geography in that country to try and find the best players in the country and turn that country into a winning club and one of those mainstays. And he had some really interesting thoughts in that interview. I will link it in the description, guys. Please make sure you check it out and get yourself familiar with them. I am rooting for them, even though they do have a very tough group. Again, the winners and runners-up of that do look fairly obvious on paper, but we'll see what happens from there. Group D, we have our 2-time World Cup champs, Spain, winning it in 2000 and 2004. They are also looking at their 10th straight appearance out of 10. They'll be taking on Kazakhstan, who is looking to get back into the contest and really disrupt things. They are always a very tough squad to face. They're there for the 4th time. They were there in 2021. Excuse me, they got 4th place in 2021, pardon me. And Leo Higuita, who's one of my favorite players to watch. He's got a ton of energy. He's super passionate, not afraid to move forward. He is a 5-time best goalkeeper of the world in futsal, and he will definitely be a player to watch in that group. But moving on to one of the next teams in that group, New Zealand. They are debuting in the World Cup after winning the OFC Championship. They are going to be representing after Solomon Islands did last year. and they are looking to really make a change as far as OFC is concerned. They've been really vocal as far as interviews from their manager and talking about strategy and who they need to play and how they need to prepare for this tournament. Notably, two of their players play over in England for Bloomsbury Futsal, who are friends of the channel, and we have been lucky enough to be able to watch them on YouTube when NFS is airing there and see them play. Really exciting team to watch, and hopefully they can prove that they're not just better than their neighbors in their confederation, but will also be able to be disruptive. Although, again, a very tough group for an underdog like this. Hopefully they can find a way to make things interesting. And in Libya, of course, back since 2012, they have never made it past the group stage, as well as some others that were mentioned in this conversation, but they are looking to figure out what they can do and to get out of this group stage. They're really going to have to create some magic and keep heads held high and be creative, but they absolutely could be an interesting dark horse in Group D if they bring their A game. Looking at Group E, very, very interesting group for me. In fact, I would say this is possibly the group of death of all these groups. Defending champions Portugal. Surprising to me, this is their 7th appearance. They have missed a couple of World Cups in futsal, which when you think about all of the greatest stars and managers that have come out of Portugal, that's hard to believe, but they will be defending their championship starting in Group E against Panama, who just won the CONCACAF championships for the first time. They are back in the World Cup. Best they've ever done as far as advancing is concerned is actually surprisingly even better than Costa Rica. Actually, excuse me, they just missed Costa Rica. They did the round of 16 in the cycle prior in 2012, but since then have not really been able to create much magic to get out of those group stages. They will be looking to make sure that they are disruptive in this tournament, as they are definitely a passionate group of guys. Tajikistan is another debutant in this competition as well. They fought like crazy to earn their right to move out of the AFC competition, and they will be taking on the final team in this group, which is Morocco. And as I said before, Morocco is having a massive, massive movement in futsal and in soccer with their recent success. Morocco is one of my favorite teams to watch for this tournament that could possibly win this thing. And then they are in the group with Portugal, and then teams like Tajikistan and Panama, who can be very disruptive. So this is going to be a very interesting group to watch. I think I really do think that is the closest to a group of death we have of the 6 groups. So definitely keep an eye on some really interesting matchups in that Group E. Finally, Group F. The last 4 teams we can talk about here. Taking a look at Iran, they got 3rd place back in 2016. Can they get back to the podium in their 9th appearance in a futsal World Cup? They have only missed 1 World Cup ever in their history, which is very, very impressive. Venezuela coming back for just the 2nd time to the Futsal World Cup, but they made it to the round of 16 in the last cycle in Lithuania, so they are going to be very tough to face. And then Guatemala, a team that is very difficult to play against in CONCACAF, but again, can't quite seem to get the results on the global stage. They are looking to get out of the group stage in their 6th appearance for a World Cup, and they have started out by doing some friendlies with the likes of host Uzbekistan. As I'm recording this today, I watched on my lunch break as Uzbekistan hosted Guatemala in a closed-doors match, and Uzbekistan did win 3-1, but Guatemala did look pretty sharp and running and being very, very aggressive and having a high press to match the Uzbekistan style of play. So I'm curious to see how they handle themselves in this Group F. And then finally, one of the most exciting teams for me that I'm looking forward to is France, our 4th debut team in this World Cup. They have made a massive, massive movement at the federation level to ensure futsal's future in the country with multi-million-dollar investments in futsal over a period of time. And they have some very aggressive goals to make themselves a mainstay in these futsal contests. I cannot wait to see how they perform and how they set their history on their debut stage in Uzbekistan. Really going to be an interesting group to watch with those teams with some exciting matchups. Even though they might not be all of the best teams in the group compared to, say, a Group E with 2 major powerhouses, I think that these teams are very well matched and will be interesting to watch those matches take place. So, guys, I've been looking at the schedule for the Futsal World Cup and trying to do the conversion on timing as far as what the times will be here in the United States when these games go live. I believe on FIFA Plus, it looks like, is where these games will be live. I don't know if they'll be available anywhere else. It's a little bit easier to access, but I am hoping to do what I did for the CONCACAF Championship, at least on the weekends, and do some early morning streams with you guys, my time, to enjoy some of these matches. So if you guys are interested or liked what we did and came here and found the channel from what we did for the CONCACAF World Cup, we will do something very similar if I can pull it off. That will likely be solo for me without Luke, unfortunately, because that would be asking him to get up in the wee hours of the morning his time. But we'll see what we can work out based on timing and the schedule there in Uzbekistan. We still have a couple months to sort that out. And for us, it's as easy as turning on the camera. We don't have to fly a team and show up in a different country with passports and visas and then have to actually take the court. We got the easy part. We get to enjoy and critique with you guys here on the channel. So we'll figure out a way to try and make that work. In the meantime, to hold me over until we get that opportunity to do that, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Who are your favorite teams to watch going into this World Cup? Who's your favorite to win it all? I have a hard time picking in this one. I really think that Morocco could win their first World Cup and be one of the first teams outside of Europe or South America to bring home the trophy. I also, of course, really like the defending champs, Portugal. You can always say Brazil, I guess. But for me, I'm really looking at Morocco and seeing what they can do to win this thing. I'm curious what you guys think. Are you brave enough or bold enough to say who you think your champion will be in the comments this far in advance? And until I hear from you then, please don't forget to play with your soul.